First up is Daniel Sperling. There's probably, he's got a 2-page resume that is incredibly glossy. I found out about Dan because he's one of the rare researchers in the world of transportation research that was looking at the small vehicle. And I think in terms of collaboration, Dan really blew me away one day because I actually have my own little vehicle company and it went bottom up after 700 cars. And I got like a month after the company went out of business, I got this call, and I was in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Dan Sperling, interested in talking to me as a designer, something very different from his world about working together and trying to address these problems. Right now, Dan looks after a wide array of things, not just the areas of small vehicles or shared cars and all the things that Susan's been involved with Honda and CarLink. But they're also in the process of starting a new mobility center, and this will be for the University of California, a new mobility center that will look at all different areas that we're going to talk about today. And it's something that's just getting off the ground, so I know that they'd be interested in hearing your comments or thoughts about it. But it's a very exciting time, and I'm just going to turn it over to Dan Sperling. Wow.
Thank you, Dan, very much. In fact, Dan was the inspiration and motivation for us to create this new mobility center. And you'll be hearing a little more of that. I'll refer to it a little. Susan Shaheen further down the road here is co-director of it along with me. I think what we're talking about here, the premise for this whole meeting is that major changes are needed in the transportation sector, but at the same time, as Dan was suggesting, major opportunities are at hand to achieve those changes. And to motivate it just a bit, we can say that the United States has 4% of the world's population, but owns 25% of the cars, consumes 25% of the energy in the world, and produces about 25% of the greenhouse gases in the world. We have about 1.1 vehicles per licensed driver, more than one. And the question becomes, what happens as other countries advance? What's the effect on energy supply? What's the effect on greenhouse gases? What's the effect on other resource consumption? And the question is, will we go from the world's population of 700 million vehicles to something like 5 billion in the next 50 years? That's what projections show. Clearly, a gut reaction is this is unsustainable, and that the car-centric model of the United States is going to be very difficult to sustain as it spreads to other countries, never mind being retained here in the US. And just to kind of motivate a little further, let's look at California, kind of as an illustration of impending disasters, perhaps. That is, we have 34 million people today in California. We're going to be adding about 20 million more people in the next 30 years. 20 million more people in this state. And, and we haven't been building new roads. In the last 20 years, we've only added about 8% new road capacity. We're not going to be adding much more in the next 20 years. How are people going to move around this? Are we going to have perpetual gridlock? Or are we going to just cover the entire state with cars and roads? So we have an opportunity to change things, as suggested by this title, wires and tires, and non-wires as well, I would suggest. And that's because there are these major advances in telecommunication and information technologies that we all know about. And they're currently, in the transportation sector, we kind of characterize as intelligent transportation systems, and it's one of the most important, if not the most important, thrusts of that transportation community. It's being pursued by a large range of technology companies and automotive companies. Lots of products and services are being developed and marketed, mostly, I would point out, to provide drivers with more information. And this is going to be big business. It already is. There's going to be lots of revenue, lots of profits. The largest companies in the world are getting involved. But the point I want to make is that these new products and services are not likely to have much effect on the performance and the efficiency of our transportation system. They certainly are going to have value to individuals. People aren't going to get, having this, people won't get lost in new neighborhoods. They'll be able to find parking at the Yerba Buena Center more easily. They won't make wrong turns and get expensive tickets. as I just did. I knew I shouldn't have driven. We'll have access to concierge services in our cars. It's already available. But the effect on traffic congestion, the effect on energy use, the effect on greenhouse gases is going to be minimal the way things are being done now and are kind of trending into the future. In other words, society as a whole is not benefiting much. We can do much better. Rather than provide these incremental enhancements to how we already do things, we can seek system transforming innovations that provide large societal benefits. Now the opportunity is that there is the prospect of providing wholly new transportation mobility services, creating new modes of travel, creating new ways of connecting these new modes with the old modes and services. And we can do this in a way that transforms our transportation systems to provide major benefits to society and to individuals. Now the context for this is that thinking it a little more abstractly perhaps, is that new innovations are always being used when they're first brought in, are used to enhance existing services and patterns. That's the way the technology development process works. Microwaves, early mainframe computers are examples. But important innovations eventually lead to entirely new patterns and services and ways of doing things. Electric rail transit and then cars created our suburbs. Trucks led to dispersal of manufacturing, and so on. And the list is very long. And the question is, how can this advent of low-cost information and telecommunication technologies be used to transform transportation? The barriers to change are very steep in the transportation sector for a variety of reasons. We have what I call a transportation monoculture, in the sense that essentially all vehicles serve all purposes, all roads serve all vehicles, access to roads is free almost everywhere, almost all parking is free, something like over 90% of all parking is free. City centers are the exception. And what we have is a lack of diversity. We have and so we have this, in a sense, this monoculture that's resistant to change. We need experimentation. We don't even know really what services, what types of new services and modes of transport really would be appealing to which people in what situations and what conditions. We need a lot of experimentation to learn that. And there's lots of good ideas, and we're going to be talking about them here. And we need to use these new technologies to create services and options that are better and or cheaper, sometimes better, sometimes cheaper than the single occupant vehicle that we become so connected to. Can be done. So the talks today, so I'm really just giving you a motivational speech. I'm an academic. This is not my normal mode, but we have all these people that are going to get into some more specifics of it. And they're going to elaborate on some of the ideas and services and products that are in various stages of development and commercialization that can make a difference. And the point of it is that we have to start connecting these together in new ways. This is something that Dan Sturgis kind of preached from the beginning and is entirely correct. Telecommuting by itself is not going to be very appealing. Telecenters, small cars, car sharing by itself, none of them are going to get very far. But linking them together, you really can create services and systems that are superior. And so this Center of New Mobility Studies that Dan Sturgis talked about, that we have at University of California, Davis, that we're doing in conjunction with a program for advanced technology at UC Berkeley, it's intended to be a think tank. It's intended to be an implementer of these ideas. And for instance, Susan Shaheen, co-director, will be talking about the smart car sharing ideas, which we believe is an important first step toward getting people to stop reflexively using their personal cars for all trips. Most of us, you're going somewhere doing something, you don't even think about the option, you just get in your car and go. We need to break that link and start thinking about other means of travel that are easier and less expensive. And so that break is really critical. The technology, the opportunity exists to do it. And there is growing evidence, as you'll hear today, that the revolution is at hand. It's not quite here yet, but it's at hand.